It's been an absolutely gorgeous day in Muncie for Game 2 of a weekend series in the Mid-American Conference. Caitlin Young has been all afternoon long down on the field. She joins us here in the bottom of the 7th inning in the booth. Caitlin, certainly a beautiful day. A lot better than yesterday where we had rain.
Oh, yeah, it's way better than yesterday. You can tell that the fans are just loving it, especially on Dedication Day, bringing out so many fans to the game, all of them with sunglasses, happy, smiling faces. You can tell they really love being here.
We got a lot of action in the bullpen. Back in the 6th inning is when it really started. Croy started warming up for Bowling Green. Carey, who got the start, is still throwing. To start the bottom of the 7th inning, B.J. Butler is throwing in the bullpen for Ball State.
And if you're Bowling Green, you ride Carey as long as you can because of his ability that he's been able to show throughout today's game, and especially against Scott Tyler, twice striking out the lefty for Ball State, and he's had his number, so this advantage for Bowling Green and Carey is part of the reason he's probably still in the game, and also the ability that he's been able to get out the bottom of the order as well, in addition to Scott Tyler.
Tyler is 0 for 2 today with 2 strikeouts. And make it 3 strikeouts as he swings and misses.
As you can see, the frustration wearing on number 7, Scott Tyler. Just know, after 2 strikeouts, you're just under so much pressure from getting away from what's called the hat trick with 3 strikeouts, and it's just tough as a corner hitter.
The hat trick you definitely don't want to be a part of as a batter, but a tough day for Tyler in the box. But once again, Carey and his ability to just work the zone, work inside and outside. And he's been able to baffle the hitters for Ball State, and head coach Schmitz for Bowling Green continues to let the starter roll.
And this is the time when the mental game of baseball really comes in clutch. He's been out there pitching for most of this game, and that's when you really have to mentally stay strong, even though your arm is probably getting tired.
He's gone 6 1/3 up to this point. He's yet to complete a game this season, has Carey. (3-2) for the third baseman, Kennedy. Carey throwing home. Grazed the inner shin of Kennedy.
Kennedy looking for his first hit of the weekend. Been struggling a little bit to get things started.
He came into the weekend on a 7-game hit streak, but as you mentioned, Jared, looking for his first hit of the weekend. That ended right off the side of Carey. And there's his first hit of the weekend. And if you're Carey, with the number of pitches and the innings he's thrown, and now this, you have to think that we're getting close to the end.
It might be. He's a little bit frustrated as well. Threw his glove to the ground, gets right back on the mound, picks up the ball. Trainers come out, but Carey looks like he wants to try and stay in the game. But not a bad way if you're Sean Kennedy to find some contact on the weekend for the first time. And as they tell you to hit the ball right back up the middle and where it came from, Kennedy doing just that. Carey will throw a couple to see if he's okay, but right off of the right hip of Carey.
This is a crucial coaching moment, too, where the coach has to decide whether he's going to leave him in or take him out. Given the number of pitches he's thrown and being hurt, he's got to protect his player.
Carey will have an opportunity to throw a couple of practice pitches.
Shakes off the trainers and says, let's go, and back out there with Bison coming up. But this is a situation where Bowling Green 1 pitch away from getting out of the inning. This could help Carey's case as well, but as the game wears on and continues to play, have to keep an eye on that pitch count for Carey. But as you mentioned, Tyler, he hasn't had a complete game up to this point, but today going deep into this one.
Last season was the only undefeated conference pitcher against conference opponents. Had 6 conference wins. That was the most of any MAC pitcher.
wouldn't be surprised with action here from Ball State. I know head coach Rich Maloney loves doing a lot of action with the drag bunt here.
Bouncing foul.
Especially with Bisa at the plate.
Bisa is 1 of 2 today at the plate. Tripled back in the 3rd inning. Flew out to Brown and center back in the 5th inning. A hit here would give him his 3rd multi-hit game in the past 5.
It's also important for Ball State and Bisa to try and get on base any way you can and not have a force out or any situation to try and get 2 runners on base for Alex Call at the top of the lineup. Call struggled a little bit in the series, but a double in his last at-bat. That's where things could pick up for Call. Once he gets hot, Jarrett, he's one of those players that you don't want to get hot if you're a pitcher because he has the ability to just go on streaks.
Yeah, undoubtedly. And even after that, that's just the top of the lineup. Then you got Alex Maloney following him and Caleb Staten.
Bisa squaring to bunt. Thrown out at first by Mott, the catcher. But he did his job and advances Kennedy in the scoring position at second with 2 outs.
This time, a sacrifice instead of a drag bunt to get on base. Gave himself up, put a runner on second base for Call. A situation where anything in the infield, look for Kennedy using his speed to come all the way home, especially late in the game. Coach Maloney might try some things and wave around the runner if anything's close in the outfield.
Yeah, eventually as a head coach, you find a time late in the game. When are you going to take your shot?
As Call lifts this one deep into left field. On the back pedal is the left fielder, and it's over. Smith stares at his glove as a 2-run shot by Call. Gives Ball State their first lead, 3-1.
This just shows how the Cardinals are able to get ahead in the later innings. As we saw last weekend and Sunday, they were tied with CMU and won it in the 9th inning. They just have something about getting those hits in the later innings.
One thing that might go unnoticed throughout the stat sheet is that sacrifice by Roman Bisa. Low in the batting order, Bisa doing what he needs to do just to continue the inning, not a double play ball or anything. Keep yourself out of the double play call, letting one rip over the left field wall, and that'll do it for Carey. But Alex Call, one of the MAC's best hitters, has proven time and time again, Jarrett, that he can come up clutch in these situations, especially when Ball State needs an at-bat to pull them back and take the lead.
Yeah, Alex Call there with his 4th home run on the season in MAC games. So definitely someone, once again, who late in games is able to produce for Ball State.
And Zach Carey's day is done. The starting pitcher for Bowling Green. As the dugout for Ball State watches on, Brad Croy now out on the mound throwing for Bowling Green. Ball State has a lead heading here in the 7th inning with a 3-1 lead. They are 21-0 leading after 7 innings this season, so things certainly looking favorable for Ball State after that 2-run shot by Call over the left field fence.
And a lot of that has to do with B.J. Butler in the bullpen because of his ability this season to come in and shut down opposing batters. And coming into this game, we might see B.J. Butler. He's been warming up throughout the course of today's game, and he's come into games where he's thrown 2 innings for a save, and it's not uncommon to see that from Butler, and we might see that here today. Haro, a masterful game in 5 innings of relief, but now the Cardinals have the momentum on their side, and when B.J. Butler's come in for Ball State, he's been able to slam the door shut.
Yeah, B.J. Butler has been lights out for Ball State with a 1.69 ERA in MAC games alone. He's been really the staple at the back end of that bullpen to be able to close out games.
As Croy's first pitch coming out of the bullpen, a 6-foot freshman at Glandorf, Ohio. It's recorded for a ball. Maloney watches for the second ball. Croy is 7th on the team with a 5.62 ERA. Maloney gets by the glove of Doherty. And with 2 outs, stands at first with Staten to the plate.
Rocket off the bat of Maloney. He's had good contact so far today. Finally getting one to drop anywhere he can. But we've seen Maloney, bat and ball have connected on the sweet spot throughout the course of MAC play, and he continues to see the ball well.
This is something that Ball State struggled with yesterday. They missed the big hit. They always had the position, they had it set up, but they could never capitalize with the big hit. And after Call's 2-run shot, you just get the sense that the momentum has certainly switched hands.
It seems like that momentum for the Cardinals always comes when there's 2 outs, too. A lot of teams, once there's 2 outs, it's very hard for them to get that rally going. But with the Cardinals, they thrive on 2 outs.
But this also has been a very good weekend display of baseball from Bowling Green up to this point so far. Getting the win yesterday, 5-1.
It has so far. The weekend for Ball State's been defined by that last at-bat, the 2-run shot by Call. But other than that, the pitching for Bowling Green has really come in, slowed the Cardinals lineup down. 7 hits for Ball State today after just 4 yesterday. But this Bowling Green pitching staff coming in had struggled in previous games, had to go extra innings against Wright State in a weekday game. Bullpen had to be used, and coming into this weekend, they had to rely on their starters to go deep into games, and we've seen that so far for Bowling Green. And with Call delivering that shot, things change a little bit for both sides.
And as Croy stands on the mound, they warm up Trevor Simon, and Croy is done. Simon's down to the bullpen, and now jogs out onto the turf.
Another important aspect to remember, too, is that rankings on paper do not matter. Bowling Green was able to get that win against Ball State yesterday, even though they have a worse record than Ball State. So, in the game of baseball, the rankings and the records don't matter.
And correction, I stand corrected, that's Cody Brown for Bowling Green, not Trevor Simon. Brown this season with a 1-1 record, 1 save, and a 2.75 ERA, which is second best on Bowling Green's pitching staff.
We'll see that lefty-on-lefty matchup once again. We saw it yesterday with Staten coming to the plate. Schmitz electing to go to the bullpen to try and work out a lefty-on-lefty matchup. It hasn't faced Staten throughout the season, but yesterday, Schmidt's move paying off, and they did get Staten yesterday. But a different situation here with Brown into the game, a runner at first base for Ball State. And Caleb Staten's been hot this season, has been slowed down in the series against Bowling Green, however.
Yeah, and this is most likely the matchup of the night to possibly even define the game. As you can see, Caleb Staten hitting .429 in MACtion. And then even coming into the weekend, those 3, Alex Call, Alex Maloney, and Caleb Staten, the top 3 hitters in the lineup for Ball State, but also the top 3 hitters in average.
With 2 outs and a fresh arm of Cody Brown out of Perrysburg, Ohio. Left-hand pitcher as he throws over, taking off for second base is Maloney as he's caught up in a jam, and that ends the inning. But it was capped off and highlighted by an Alex Call 2-run shot over the left field fence. Call has it as a 3-1 game in favor of Ball State. Okay, what? Two-run shot in the bottom of the 7th inning by junior Alex Call of Ball State. 3-1, Ball State leads over Bowling Green. As we take a look at our game summary, Alex Call 2 for 4 with a home run and a double with 2 RBIs. But Bowling Green's Justin Moss 2 for 3 with 2 singles and an RBI. It's Bowling Green that will be at the plate here in the top of the 8th inning. A brand new arm for Ball State as B.J. Butler out of the bullpen. He's taking his practice pitches on top of the hill. Waiting to face Corey Brown, the leadoff hitter, here in the 8th inning.
And going back to it, B.J. Butler has been a staple for this Ball State back end of the bullpen. Once again, Ball State is 21-0 when leading after 7 innings. So that's just a testament to what B.J. Butler has been able to do for the Ball State Cardinals in that closing role.
Bowling Green will have to do it against one of the better closers in the Mid-American Conference, and with Butler's changeup and his ability to work outside in the zone is something that Bowling Green will have to try and take care of, and teams inside the MAC haven't been able to do that so far against B.J. Butler. And Butler 3-0 on the season, coming out of the bullpen mostly as a closer, but has also picked up wins late in games because of the ability of the offense to score late in games, and therefore B.J. Butler just taking it the rest of the way. And Bowling Green has struggled late in games, and especially when they haven't scored 5 runs. Jarrett, they're 1-18 when scoring fewer than 5 runs, and so far Ball State's pitching staff here today has been able to limit those runs. Only 1 for Bowling Green.
That 1 run came back in the 2nd inning. Bounce back to Butler. A flip to Staten.
One of the biggest improvements to Ball State's pitching staff has been the improvement of B.J. Butler alone. His freshman sophomore season, still with good numbers. However, the biggest improvement has been with Chris Fetter, working on him with that fastball. Usually was around, I'd say, 84, 85 miles an hour, and now has been able to pump that all the way up to 89 to 90, and even down at LSU, reaching up to 93 miles an hour.
Butler throwing, Smith squaring to bunt. Smith is 1 for 3 today. Butler entering the weekend with 7 saves on the year. That's second best in the conference. The junior out of Michigan. In conference games alone, he has 1 save and 6 appearances against MAC opponents, does Butler.
When you've got a pitcher and a closer like B.J. Butler on your team, it makes it that much easier to go to the bullpen, just like in this situation in the 8th inning, because Butler's had those games and experience where he's come in, saved for 2 innings. It's not anything new for Butler to come in and do this. It also saves more arms in your bullpen, not having to work with an 8th inning guy and a 9th inning guy like in Major League Baseball we see so often. Now closers in the college game can go 2 innings and get these outs.
Smith into left field, and Call the grab for the 2nd out. The most recent save for Butler came on April 7th against Xavier. He's a 6'1" junior out of Michigan. You take a look at his statistics. 2.64 ERA, 3-0 record, MAC pitcher of the week. Against Greg Basilega. Singling back in the 4th inning. 1 for 3 today.
Last year he really started to develop that changeup, and this year he's been able to combine that, like you said, Jarrett, with a fastball that's just increasing as the season goes on. And with that combination, as a hitter, how tough is it to bat against a guy that can throw upwards of 90 miles an hour but can take that speed off in a changeup throwing about 82?
Yeah, it's definitely just gets out of whack in your mind as a hitter when you see the release of a changeup. It's not the biggest thing, the speed differential, but it's the fact that it has the look of a fastball. B.J. Butler doing a great job at disguising that changeup, coming out his hand looking like a fastball that's been able to reach up to 90 miles an hour. However, coming out and being a 83, 84 mile an hour changeup just keeps him off balance, can't touch it.
The even 2-2 pitch. Shot high. Kennedy. The throw.
Once again, we see the turf becoming a factor here, where on a all natural dirt and grass field, that might not be the case, but here on the turf, Vacilega able to just pound it into the ground with a high chopping ground ball for Sean Kennedy. Best effort he can, but cannot get him out at first base.
This is Hunter Clannon. Started in right field yesterday for Bowling Green. Comes into pitch hit. Clannon yesterday at the plate was 2 for 3 with a run scored and an RBI.
BJ continues to pound away. Really trying to get Clannon to get reaching into that opposite batter's box. Chase something that he doesn't want to hit. Now with the 3-2 count, 2 outs, all the infielders spread out. Expect Vacilega to be in motion here.
Clannon, a nice job of watching a couple of pitches after being in the hole 0-2. Butler working all over the zone to look for a swing and a miss, but Clannon hasn't given in.
Vacilega takes off, but it won't matter. Strikeout by Butler to end the inning. 7.5 gone. Ball State owns a 3-1 lead over Bowling Green on ESPN3. Headed to the bottom of the 8th inning here in Muncie. Ball State owns a 3-1 lead here in the heart of the conference season, and game 2 of a midweek or a weekend conference series in the Mid-American Conference. Take a look at the remaining schedule for Ball State. From here they go against Northern Kentucky coming up next week as we start at the bottom of the 8th inning with Staten leading off for Ball State. Total of 4 conference weekends left for Ball State. Cody Brown throwing.
There's the quick hands of Staten. Lefty on lefty matchup, no matter for Staten.
The MAC tournament coming up here at the end of the Mid-American Conference play, starting on May 25th to round out the season. This is the 3rd pitcher that Bowling Green has utilized today, Cody Brown. Tony Landy is down in the bullpen for Bowling Green, but that's not in efforts to warm up. Staten smacking off of a hop. It's played by the right fielder.
And if Landy wasn't warming up before, they might want to go ahead and try to get him going here, as we have a mound visit with Bowling Green.
Landy came in at the end of the game last week, or rather yesterday, and threw. And it took just here momentarily a couple of practice pitches, and they decided to bring him in as Caleb Staten stands on first as he inherits no outs, and Staten on first, who's hit the ball very well for Ball State this year. Leads the MAC in RBIs. Also the Scholar Athlete of the Week for the Mid-American Conference. Tony Landy coming in to pitch. He went just briefly. He couldn't have spent more than a minute down to the bullpen. Most of it was stretching. Yesterday, threw an inning and a third, total of 29 pitches.
Lefty on lefty matchup this time goes in favor of Staten after Coach Schmitz for Bowling Green elected to try that matchup once again, even after the 7th inning ended on Maloney being thrown out at second base. They wanted to come back and try that once again in the 8th inning. But Staten doing what he does best, pulling a pitch inside, even against a left-handed pitcher. It hasn't really phased him, Jarrett. When matchups come up with lefty on lefty, a lot of coaches and teams like to do those matchups because of the advantage of the lefty being able to disguise the ball later to a left-handed batter.
Yes, for any left-handed batter, a lot of times those left-handed pitchers tend to stand on the first base side of the mound, first base side of the rubber, and that ball deceivingly looks like it's almost coming from behind you and can be tough for a left-handed hitter. However, Caleb Staten still able to stay on it and drill out single.
Ryan Flesch to the plate, the catcher. Scored a run back in the 4th inning. Has reached base in every single appearance of the plate so far today. A well-hit ball into left field. And Smith with the play, Staten back to first.
Not much more you could do if you're Ryan Flesch, hitting the ball right on the nose into the left center gap. But the defense for Bowling Green in the outfield, and Smith playing in perfect position, shading towards the left center gap, anticipating something in that area from the right-handed batter, Ryan Flesch.
Yeah, this game turned from a battle of the Zacks to a battle of the closers. Tony Landy coming into today with 11.2 innings pitched, only giving up 2 hits. Over his last 11.2 innings pitched, only giving up 2 hits. So he's been on fire lately.
Bunt attempt by Spalding and trying to advance Staten, and it successfully does so. Sacrifice bunt. Staten over to second.
Good job by Spalding giving up his at-bat to make way for Eppers, but a perfectly executed bunt. Slow enough in front of the pitcher's mound where Staten has plenty of time to make his way to second base. Most of the time getting a bunt down at the first and third baseline is the better option, but when it's a slow roller, especially on turf, it slows down sometimes a little bit more in the beads to where the pitcher has a tougher time and the runner can get over to second base without a throw. And the pitcher have to go with the sacrifice and get the out at first.
This is Eppers. Eppers singled back in the 4th inning, but drove in Ryan Flesch for the first run of the game for Ball State. Two outs and a 1-1 count.
Peppers has had these situations during this season, and coming to mind against LSU where he was able to drive in a couple of crucial runs with runners in scoring position, especially at second base. A batter that can hit the ball up the middle, goes with the pitch.
As Eppers watches a called strike 3 to end the bottom of the 8th inning. 1 inning left in a 3-1 game where Ball State leads on ESPN 3. A 3-1 lead for Ball State as we enter the top of the 9th inning. This is the Saturday game of a weekend series with B.J. Butler trying to seal the deal. 3 outs away for the win for Ball State as Bowling Green came in here yesterday with a 5-1 win, upsetting Ball State in the Friday game of this weekend series. Bowling Green is currently on the midst of a 5-game road trip. It started with Wright State, then you have 3 at Ball State, and now Youngstown State coming up this coming week. They did make a trip back to Bowling Green for classes, but 5 games away from home. With a total of 4 conference weekends left for Bowling Green, including this one, Ball State, Northern Illinois, Kent State, and Buffalo before the MAC tournament. Ball State and Caleb Staten, along with Alex Call, are just 3 outs away from getting their first win of the weekend. Staten and Call have hit the baseball well coming in to this weekend. 389, 384, first and second of the conference in batting average. They struggled yesterday, though, to hit the baseball, but that hasn't been the case here today. B.J. Butler, first pitch at the top of the 9th is recorded as a strike for an 0-1 count.
Yeah, and with Caleb Staten and Alex Call leading the way for Ball State, even today combined they are 4 for 8 from the plate, so they've really been producing 4 of Ball State's 8 hits.
Where they struggled in yesterday's game, it's good if you're Ball State to see those two back on track after one little minor trip against this Bowling Green team as B.J. Butler continues to throw well on the mound, but Butler just 2 outs away, but he's been able to come in. Another 2-inning save opportunity for the right-handed pitcher. Nasty stuff coming from the right arm of B.J. Butler as he keeps the ball down and away in the zone. Another swing and a miss, a slider. Looked good over the heart of the plate, but dove with the last minute.
Yeah, and that's another thing that B.J. Butler has been able to add to his arsenal. Not only the fastball change mix, but every once in a while, probably once per at-bat, he's able to throw in a slider and just catch a hitter by surprise there.
And that's not his best pitch, as the changeup and the fastball have been battling between each other for the best pitch in B.J. Butler's pocketbook. But with that slider, like you mentioned, it's a good mix-up pitch for him, and so far he's been able to use that effectively throughout his nearly 2 innings of work.
Yeah, making in turn, when you have those 2 pitches working so well for you, that slider in a way does become your best pitch because it's never seen. Because you're able to hold that in your back pocket, whenever you pull that, it's almost like pulling a rabbit out the hat. No one's expecting it, and it's able to in turn be your best pitch because it just freezes everyone.
We've seen the staff of Ball State in the pitching keeping everything low and away in the zone. Butler continues that trend. Plesac started it. Haro coming in, doing the same thing. The right side of the plate has been seeing a lot of action from the baseball today.
This is Cody Calloway at the plate for Bowling Green. Sophomore infielder who played yesterday. 2-2 count, 1 out, nobody on. Turned left and foul to keep the count at bay.
Yesterday, Ball State in this position as Bowling Green is today, trying to get on base any way they can to extend this game. And And Bowling Green has a tough task ahead of them, especially with Butler on the mound.
Callaway has failed to have a hit in now 7 games. Went 0 for 3 yesterday. Sophomore out of Ohio. Just like that, Bowling Green down to their final out.
Now batting, the catcher, number 7, Justin Mott.
The last out seems to be always the toughest out to get for a closer, battling at the plate. Mott will do his best to extend this game against Butler, but Butler in a groove right now. He's been able to just work ahead in the count. When he can do that for Ball State, he's nearly untouchable.
In the hole, rolling to left. Bisa and a single with Mott to extend the game.
Making the 3rd hit there for Mott. He's just been able to find his way on base with 3 singles on the day so far. Production at the bottom of the lineup for Bowling Green once again.
Number 29, Joe McGinnis.
This is Joe McGinnis, a 6'1" freshman out of Delaware, Ohio.
And once again, I don't know what it is about the last out, but it's just always the hardest to get. BJ Butler hopeful to try to get his out right here, as turnover of the lineup will occur after this hitter.
McGinnis, the pinch hitter. Butler throwing, and an 0-2, down to their final strike.
Nasty pitch below the knees. McGinnis couldn't hold off. It looked too good. Sometimes those pitches look like beach balls coming in, but at the last second take a dive and fall off the table.
A strikeout to end the game by BJ Butler. Ball State has bounced back 3-1. They win Game 2 in this Mid-American Conference Weekend Series. We'll be back to wrap things up after this with Caitlin Young. This is college baseball on ESPN3.
Oh, so that's different from the close.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Because I just remember, like,
Caitlin's ready, right? The 8th save of the season by BJ Butler, and Ball State is victorious 3-1 over Bowling Green, bouncing back today in the Saturday affair of this Mid-American Conference Weekend Series. It was Alex Call that put Ball State up 3-1 with a 2-run shot back in the 7th inning, and he's standing down on the field with Caitlin Young.
Thanks, Tyler. I'm here with Alex Call. Alex, you got the crucial home run to pull the Cardinals ahead. What was going through your mind during that at bat?
Well, I wanted to hard. I knew that coach had Roman bunt to put the bat in my hands, give me the shot, and I expect that out of myself. I'm thankful for the opportunity. Teammates got me in a great position and just made it happen.
And once you saw that it was a home run, how did that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of emotion. Big win for us to get it done, and hopefully we can take the series tomorrow.
What do you need to do to take the series tomorrow?
Just play good baseball. We played good D, we pitched great, and we just got to hit a little bit more than we are. We're definitely capable, and it'll be fun.
All right, thanks, Alex. Great win today. That was Ball State's Alex Call. Back up to the press box.
Thanks, Caitlin. Call finishes 2 for 4 today with a home run and 2 RBIs. That 2-run shot back in the 7th inning put Ball State up 3-1. Ball State with a bounce-back win today, guys.
A good job by the pitching staff of Ball State to reel the team back together. 1 run allowed by the staff. Matt Harrell coming in doing a fantastic job in long relief of Zach Plesac.
Yes, and then the hitters being able to get their side of the game done as well. Ball State swinging it well with 8 hits, half of those coming from Alex Call and Caleb Staten. With tomorrow's game for the rubber match, the wind is supposed to be blowing out, which could be in favor of Ball State.
Well, Ball State wins here today 3-1, bouncing back from yesterday's 5-1 loss. Tomorrow in the rubber match. Today's Ball State Sports Link production was directed by Alex Seitz. For Caitlin Young down on the field this afternoon, and Mick Diderot and Jared James in the booth, I'm Tyler Bradfield saying so long from First Merchants Ballpark in Muncie, where the final score is Ball State 3, Bowling Green 1. The rubber match is tomorrow. To watch this entire game on replay as well as other games in our families of ESPN network, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. Thanks everybody for watching. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.